This is the Vessel of Life podcast. I'm Sam Renfro, and here we talk about how the body relates to your life, how it relates to your mind, how it relates to your relationships, to everything. And I really am passionate about helping people come back into their body, especially the people that are on this conscious path and they feel so connected, yet at the same time so disconnected. And in this episode, I want to go deep on just that. And I'm going to use a reflection of my own, or I better said a personal experience, like a kind of raw, vulnerable experience that just happened this past week. And it's a great example of how the body is always talking to us. So throughout the last week, 2 weeks, I've been really noticing all of these feelings, these thoughts, these just like really, really loud mental chatter that has been coming to me. And it's been so loud that I haven't been able to think about much else. And it's like when it gets louder and louder and louder, you want to try to figure out what to do about it or what to do to escape it. And so these were thoughts that had been reoccurring for the last year and a half. There have been things that I've already been aware of, so there's nothing new, but it got so loud to the point where I just couldn't ignore it anymore. And I think a lot of us are feeling this way during this Aries season, this very powerful portal that we're in with all of these planets coming into Aries, into this planetary alignment. It's like really, really intense and at the same time really inspiring. And I feel like we're going to have a lot of new things that birth out of it, but that's another conversation for another day. Back to the thoughts. It was like really understanding, okay, something needs to be done about this, but the stakes were so high. And it was about my relationship with my partner. And these are things that it was like I couldn't voice them yet because I had to understand it for myself, and not only where I stood, but also what to do about them. And then there's that whole other practice of actually letting it go, letting it out, letting it be released, and being vulnerable in front of somebody else. So ultimately, what it came down to was a decision that I had to make. And I had to be clear on that decision, but it was like the process of getting clear led to so much more confusion. And why am I saying all this? It was like, okay, I knew that I had to have a conversation. I had to figure this out, right? I had to like let it out. I had to do something about this. And I didn't have to be the only one. It obviously involved somebody else. It involved my partner. So it was like, okay, when am I going to do this? And then I start making excuses. Oh, there's this day and this day where we have this thing going on, and it's not going to work until I finally said, okay, cool. It's going to be the one night of the week where we both have a little bit of free time. And so all weekend long, I had these feelings, these sensations, these thoughts bubbling up to the surface. And I just kept like shoving it down and at the same time ruminating on it, not letting it out. And then it was like she got this cold, and I noticed a bunch of other people were battling things around me, but I don't like to use this term, but I haven't gotten sick barely at all for like the last 2 years, I would say. My body's pretty capable, it's pretty fueled up all the time. It's pretty healthy. And even if I have gotten just a little something to be like maybe some tightness or like a tickle in my throat, or, something that would be pretty minuscule, whether it just be a very, very small head cold that lasted like a day. And it's always been like, 50% less or more than anyone else would get it. And so I'm at the point where I'm pretty happy with my health at this point. But then, it was like through this process of not letting it out of my body, then all of a sudden it came up and I felt this like constriction, this tightening in my chest. And then, I was like, I noticed that there was some phlegm that was building up. My sinuses were starting to get a little bit more clogged. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then all of a sudden it just like hit my throat. So I have all this like mucus and stuff going on. You could probably even hear it now. It's not completely out yet. But this is a long way of saying, because I actually wasn't able to speak my truth, or I didn't allow myself to, I had all these feelings that were bubbling up to the surface. Then my body like revolted back and was like, okay, no, we're gonna hit it. We're gonna hit you harder than you have been in a long time. And it was like, whoa, okay. So then all weekend long and even early this week, I was battling this cold, and it was like, whoa, this is weird. It's not getting better, it's almost getting worse. And then through my process, my releasing my nervous system and really speaking out to myself, getting clear, getting guidance, trying to do what I could, I was like, I just got to have this conversation. And when it came down to it, it was a little bit raw, and I wasn't exactly sure what was going to become of it. I wasn't exactly sure what I even wanted or what I didn't want, or but I knew something had to be done. And sometimes we get so caught up in the right or the wrong, the good or the bad. There, it's either like all or nothing. Like just you get caught in like, okay, this is it. It's either the like one or the other. When in reality, if you have a conversation with somebody where there's two people sharing, then there can be a middle ground where you say, okay, I'm going to open myself up and let's work through this together. And it's a very new concept for me. Like, whoa, okay. First time I've been in a relationship for like my entire adult life. It's kind of crazy. But after some feelings were flying around and we didn't really reach a point where we were going to decide on anything, it was like, I got to go take a walk. Like, I gotta figure this out. And when I went to go sit with it, and it was like, how disconnected from my body have I been? And it was so clear to me that everything that I'm building, everything that I'm teaching, like all these concepts of me bringing people back into their body was like the thing that I needed to do more of, to teach myself. And of course, I have all these tools and techniques and these practices to do that, but we can get really caught in the story, caught in the mind, caught in the ego, and it becomes so real. And every time we're doing this all the time, especially, I've always mentioned this, I have a really active mind, and so it gets kind of intense up there. And whenever you are daydreaming, or when you're stressing out about something in your head, or you're scrolling your phone, or whatever, it's like we're not present in the body. We're like living in some other place that may or may not be serving us. But the more that we can bring our awareness back into the body, then you are present. And when you can be present with yourself, then you can be present with somebody else. And this is a lesson that I was learning. It was like, I can't be present with somebody else unless I'm present with myself. And that's what it really came down to, was being seen and being open and willing to make mistakes and be really present with everything that is in this body that I've been carrying for so long. And this is, yeah, one of those intense moments. I'm like even listening to myself talk, and it's like one of those more intense podcast episodes. But I feel like this needs to be shared because it is everything that I want to teach you how to do, is come back into the body. And when you are disembodied, when you are off in some other place, and you have been for 5, 10, 15 years, the body then is going to start sending signals to you, whether it is talking or screaming. And, I'm very much, how do I say this? I'm definitely a believer in the fact that whenever we get quote unquote sick, or when we're fighting something off, whether it be a cold or an illness, the body is talking to us. And these are signals that we need to change. Something is out of alignment, or something needs to be released, or both. And so this is what I'm so passionate about teaching, is when we can come into presence, into coherence with our body, and we learn how to release what has been stored, then everything out in our world, in our lives, starts to shift, starts to change. Not only do we show up differently to our life, but then we're just sending a different signal out to the universe that is going to attract all these different opportunities, all these different people, all this, the wealth, the abundance, the freedom, the life of your dreams can then start to come to you without you having to try hard. And all you got to do is just do a little bit of internal work and fish out what's been holding you back, and then bing bang boom, it's like it's here. So it was a really, really big relief for me. I had a big heart opening because of it. And once I understood that vulnerability is really hard, and that there's been a bit of a lock and key situation, it's like, okay, we got to unlock a little bit. We gotta open up a little bit. And that starts with me. It has nothing to do with anyone else. It all begins with me. And then when you can do that for yourself, when I can do that for myself, then how much stronger can our relationships be, in everything, in business, and in your romantic partnerships, and your friends and your family, and all of it. This is what life is about. It's about the people that we spend it with. And so, yeah, it was just a really interesting example for me to viscerally learn that you cannot fight your body. The body doesn't lie. At this stage in awareness, and everything that I've come to and everything that I've learned, I'm a pretty sensitive being, and my body is not going to, um, it's not going to play games. It's like, okay, let's do it. And here it is on a silver platter. And so when I could just sit back and realize, oh, it's been here the whole time. And it's been waiting for me to come home to it, come back to it. This is why there's 20,000 different modalities to help you heal your body, but they all work differently. And I think through the breath, through the fascia, through the release of the emotions, and through the calming of the nervous system is the best way that I've found to allow you to come back home, to live from a different place. And you feel it shift your state. You just feel like a completely different human, even after 5-10 minutes of it. But day after day, when you start to work a little bit more, just like a little bit of your own practice, then it becomes like a ritual, and then your body is responding completely different, because you're giving it the attention that it deserves, that it didn't have for so long. And that's all it needs, is just a little love. So yeah, kind of crazy, and at the same time so simple, right? It's and again, this is what I am teaching, this is what I am living, and I want to be a living, breathing example of it, or else I cannot be the best teacher. But I've now built this community, this online community called the Fully Human Collective, where I'm bringing people together to share their experiences and to learn how to come back into their body. And I just recorded a free course that I uploaded the other day, where it really teaches you this visualizations, these meditations, awareness. It's just a simple practice to allow you to come back home to your body, so you feel physically here, you understand what's going on, and then you start to work with your energy around you. And when you bring the two in sync, in coherence with each other, then that's when some, not only the real healing can happen, but at the same time the upgrade. It's like we don't want to just be healing and doing the work all the time. We want to live from a place of wholeness. We want to have all the resources available to us. We want to be like fully human, right? This is why I named it the Fully Human Collective. I want to teach you how to come into all of your gifts and expand in a way that is not only helping yourself but the world around you and everybody in it. This is what we came here to do. We came here to live in this body, even though we're not actually in this body. We're just here witnessing it. We get to be like a best friend to it, like a partner. We get to actually say, oh, okay, what is this thing capable of? Like, let's figure it out. Let's work with it. And then when you do that, you'll be amazed at what can happen. I've seen it time after time after time. And I've also seen the other side of it, like I started talking about in the beginning of this episode. I've seen all of these very spiritually aware people so connected to the world of energy, to the divine, to some of these really amazing techniques, these gifts. They're connected to their intuition. They can hear certain things. But at the same time, then they have like this huge gut health issue or this illness that they've been battling for years, or it's like they can't figure out why their their hips are tight or their shoulders been out of place for like months or years. And like or a lot of them are having these autoimmune disorders, and that's basically just a fancy word for the doctor saying, I have no idea what's wrong with you, but something's wrong. And these are the people that I want to help. These are the people that deserve healing. They deserve wholeness. They deserve to understand what's going on and how. And then life becomes just so much more rich when you're actually here on the ground in this thing. There's more going on here, and we can't just live in the higher realms in the spiritual world all the time. We want to be connected to our soul, but also connected to this earth. This is the time that we are given. So let's do it. Let's be here. And if this resonates with you, I implore you to come check out the Fully Human Collective. Come be a part of our community. Come add your energy. This is a really rich time to help other souls evolve. And if you'd like to do that for yourself and for everyone else, then come be a part of it. So I'll leave it at that. That's what I wanted to come on and share. I hope that experience, that story, that understanding that the body is completely connected, it's sending you signals. It's here, always willing to be here as your friend, as your partner, but it's not going to handle you treating it poorly anymore. I think this is a much healthier, happier, better way to live, and I think you will as well. So if this resonates with you, come check it out. And as always, I'll be talking about more and more, going deeper in these episodes about maybe different parts of the body and how certain situations might be playing out that you just can't figure out, but you've also had this like really uncomfortable feeling in your, like in your liver or in your rib cage, or something's going on in your gut health, and like, why? What is it about? What is it? This personal power? Is it, I'm saying these things because this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm learning throughout my own body. But there are so many different areas of the body that correlate to what's happening in your life. And if you just make that one distinction, that one shift in your awareness, you start to look at things a lot differently. So thank you so much for listening, for allowing me to be real, to be me. And I hope to see you in the next episode. Have a beautiful day.